Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Great to have you in the conversation. I got to remember, Jeff, to put that title on that first segment. I think maybe we will tweet that out. I typically do not tweet out the first segment, but, we've got Albert Einstein himself encouraging people to read the Bible frequently. So I think that's worth getting that information out into circulation. Now, in the monologue portion of the program today, I want to talk about something that the New Yorker magazine did today. Some of you may remember that about a year ago, I don't remember exactly when it was, but the New Yorker published an extended profile on yours truly. And, the lady that wrote the piece, Jane Mayer's her name, very nice lady. She was here for, 3 or 4 days. We spent hours in conversation very, very pleasant. I enjoyed her conversation with her. I believe she liked me. We got along well. And so then you're going to wait and see what the New Yorker does with that. And it was a hit piece. It was 10 pages of character assassination. One of the things that the New Yorker prides itself on is their fact-checking. They claim that they are the best fact-checkers, like in the history of journalism. Well, I went through that piece after it came out, and I found no less than 15, count them, 15 errors of fact in a 10-page piece. So they weren't as factual as they claimed to be. Now, the New Yorker came out today. They have a cover, and you will hear about this if you haven't already. The New Yorker on its cover. Now, the New Yorker is a magazine for people that think they're smarter than you and me. This is a magazine that is written for the elite. This is a magazine that is written for the people that live in the Upper East Side in New York, for the Manhattanites, the people that think that they are superior, that they are made out of super dust, unlike you and I who are made out of ordinary dust. They believe they're smarter than we are. They believe they're more intelligent than we are. They are sure they're more educated than we are. By the way, came across a story today that indicated there's a magazine, I don't know who did that. I got to see if I can find that, talking about the smartest cities in America. I'm getting myself way off track here, but this is, I thought was kind of curious. This is a study that was done by a San Francisco-based brain game company, and they ranked the 100 smartest cities in the nation. Now, you're aware, I live in Mississippi. It's my adopted state now. I consider Idaho my home state, but I've adopted Mississippi as my home state. That's where our headquarters are. That's where we live. We love it here. Everything you've heard about Southern hospitality is true. But you're also aware of the stereotypes about Mississippi. Well, it turns out that this is according to a San Francisco-based brain game company, that 2 of the smartest 100 cities in the United States are in Mississippi. Starkville, Mississippi is ranked 34th. That's where Mississippi State is located. And Oxford, Mississippi is rated 74th. That's where the University of Mississippi is located. So there. Now, back to wherever I was talking about. Yeah, back to the New Yorker. They've got a cover on their latest magazine. And again, this is $7 for one copy of this magazine. I'm looking at the front cover here. This is for July 8 and 15, so it's just going out on newsstands at some point here in the near future. And it's got a picture, I kid you not, I arf you not. Somebody asked me where that phrase came from. I use that a lot. It's my version of saying, can you believe it? Or I kid you not. It's I arf you not, A-R-F. I got that from a college buddy of mine by the name of Wayne Raffensperger. He was a real good buddy of my best friend. They were in the same fraternity together, so I spent quite a bit of time around Wayne. I've completely lost touch with him, but that was a phrase that he used. I arf you not. I adopted it. Anyway, I don't know, Rob, if you can do a close-up on this or not. It's black and white because my printer is not a color printer, but if you're watching on video streaming at AFR.net or on television. I got Rob doing a close-up there of the cover of the New Yorker magazine. And what you see if you're looking at it is you got Ernie and Bert. And ladies and gentlemen, they are cuddling on a couch. This is a romantic interlude. Ernie or Bert, I don't know which is which. One of them has got his head on the shoulder of the other one. They are romantically coupled on the couch, Ernie and Bert. And they're watching television, and on the television screen is the image of the United States Supreme Court that just overturned the DOMA law that defines marriage for federal purposes as the union of one man and one woman. Now, I've written a column in response to this, quite a bit of attention, not my column, but this subject has gotten quite a bit of attention in the mainstream media. You know, it'd be interesting to see what Sesame Street does, because back in 2001, some guy produced a movie short called Ernest and Bertram, clearly based on these guys, and it was a short movie short about how they were so conflicted about their sexual attraction for each other and all the complications this was creating. So they actually showed this 10-minute movie short, and Sesame Street immediately issued a cease and desist order to stop that movie from being shown. Well, now the New Yorkers got them cuddling on a couch in front of a TV. We'll see what Sesame Street does with that. Remember, Sesame Street 2 years ago said, hey, these guys have no sexual orientation. They're Muppets. Criminently, they said, they're Muppets. They have no sexual orientation. Well, tell that to the New Yorker, has got them in a homosexual clinch on the couch in front of the TV in a darkened room. So I wrote a column on this. It's up at onenewsnow.com, our news site. It's also up at rightlyconcerned.com, our opinion site, our blog site where we post our columns. And I'm going to walk you through some of the content of my column, get to the nuggets of this. And again, the New Yorker, most people don't even read the New Yorker. It's not written for the average American. It's written for people that think they are a superior breed of cat to the rest of us poor peasants and peons. Now, what I suggest in my column is what the New Yorker is doing here is absolutely shameless, because they are using figures which are iconic to children. Every child knows who Ernie and Bert are. They are influenced by what Ernie and Bert do, by what Ernie and Bert say. They listen to them. They watch them. They imitate them. So this is not an innocent thing when you have the icons of children modeling a support for sexually aberrant, sexually deviant behavior. This is not an innocent, harmless thing. And beyond that, what the New Yorker has done here, I believe, is dangerous, and it is irresponsible. And let me explain why. Some of this you will remember. Those of you who listen to this program for a long time, we've been over this information before, but it bears repeating because these are important factoids for you to lock into your brain. Remember that Mark Regnerus at the University of Texas, he did the most extensive research that's ever been done on adults who grew up in same-sex households. And that's what Ernie and Bert are promoting here, or the New Yorker has them promoting, is same-sex households, same-sex relationships, same-sex parenting, putting children like Ernie and Bert in homes where they're raised by same-sex parents. Now, Mark Regnerus, leading social research in the country, he's at the University of Texas. This is their flagship university. He is an outstanding, credentialed, peer-reviewed researcher, not some kind of Yahoo, and he doesn't work for a pro-family organization. He doesn't work for AFA or FRC. He works for a secular academic institution, the leading institution in the University of Texas system, University of Texas at Austin. He did the most extensive study that's ever been done. He interviewed extensively and at length adults that had grown up as children in same-sex households. And he evaluated them for 80 different outcomes, 40 for both children that grew up with homosexual fathers, 40 outcomes for children who grew up with lesbian mothers. So that's 80 outcomes total. And he discovered that on 77 out of those 80 outcomes, children who were raised in homosexual households did worse. They fared worse than children that were raised in intact biological homes. On 77 out of the 80 outcomes, they did worse. In other words, it's very clear this is a suboptimal environment for children at the very minimum. And by the way, some people have tried to discredit Regnus's research and dismiss it. Every time I bring it up, they try to dismiss it. But let's not forget that there's a research integrity officer or office at University of Texas. So they get a charge like this, and there were 8 different accusations that were filed against Regnus for his research. The research integrity officer investigated these, and his conclusion was, and I quote, none of the allegations were substantiated. None. Period. Zip. Nada. Zilch. So the research integrity officer at the University of Texas signed off on his research, said, look, this is an important part of the debate on this issue. Now, here are some of, I'm picking out some of the things that, according to Regnus's findings, where children were harmed by being in a same-sex environment. Adults raised by homosexual parents are much more likely to be on welfare, to have lower educational attainment, to suffer from depression, to be arrested for criminal behavior, and to have numerous sexual partners. Now, when you look at the issue of sexual abuse, it's particularly shocking. Now, listen to this. In households where children grew up with a lesbian mother and her partner or partners, 23% of them, 23% of children who grew up with a lesbian mother reported that they were sexually molested as children. They reported unwanted sexual touching or worse, 23%. Children that grew up with a homosexual father reported sexual molestation at a rate of 6%. That is 300% higher than the rate in heterosexual households. About 2% of children that grow up in heterosexual households report some kind of sexual molestation. So this means it's grossly irresponsible of the New Yorker to promote this. They really are promoting child endangerment. They are promoting child abuse, in effect. Focal Point, AFR Talk, back in 2.
Leanne